All right, welcome back to the garage, and I'm gonna keep my voice up because I rewatched my last video and the volume was a little low. So if you feel like I'm shouting at you, that's not my intention. Just trying to make the audio transfer to the camera's microphone a little bit better. But without further ado, these are the tapered roller bearings that arrived in the mailbox. So I'm gonna show you the components that it consists of. So I know there was a comment about why doesn't the roller bearing here look like this, because this is how the picture looks when you order it off of Amazon or another bearing website. So the reason it doesn't look like this is because there is something called an outer race attached onto it. So this inside here, this is called the cone and the inner race, and then here is the outer race. And so the outer race actually sits inside the head tube. If you look in here, there's the outer race. And for the life of me, I could not get it out. So I'm gonna leave the old outer race in place, and I'm just gonna use the cone that came in the mail. So when this breaks, I'm gonna just Dremel tool this out and replace it with the existing outer races over there. So I'm gonna snap this in place here. So yeah, it just goes in like this, and then this goes in the bottom, but it's not gonna sit in place because of gravity. So what I'm gonna need is oh, there's a ring. Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm gonna also need this ring here. Oh, I can't get it out. Gotta pry this off. Yeah, so there's this ring that sits on top of the bearing, and I need to get it. Okay, so I just got that off, and so this one sits on the bottom or on the top. I don't think it matters. All right, and then I have the ring, this here. I have that seated in here. And then, so this goes on top, or you can actually just fit it in like this, right? Yep. And then this whole assembly goes up like this. And then, oh, I should have brought this over. There's this block that screws in place. So let me see, the orientation is, look for the marking down here where it's kind of grayed out. So it goes in this orientation. Oh, okay, you just push it down. And then, let me see, oh, it doesn't stay in place. And then there's all right, so after the initial failure, I discovered that if you use these quick trigger clamps and secure them like this, so the bottom part of the clamp goes underneath the suspension arm, and then the top part goes into the, or maybe just like this. Yep, so that will hold it in place, right? Yep, so I need it like this. Okay, yeah, so this clamp, actually you just need one. I had two, but okay, that holds it in place. So now that I have all the components in place, what do I need? So I am gonna grab, or if you're doing this, then you need to grab this this fastener here. So it's just a bolt and a corresponding screw. And oh, there is oh, this is too big. Let me use this to position it. I know you can see, but there's something you need to lift up here. Can you turn around in this angle? So there's gotta be kind of like a door. You need to lift up. You see, you lift that door up, and then you gotta stick this through. But actually, I just got ahead of myself. This block needs to be fastened or just positioned in place, because you don't actually fasten it. It just slides down like this. And then there's that door you need to lift up. And then this here will slide through. Oops, I think it's the other way. Yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge, but this is what keeps the wheels aligned. But let's see. This goes to here, and then you can, there you go. So you using some kind of a tool, any kind of a pick or I don't know what this is called, a dominator tool or a little screwdriver. You want to lift up the door on this side and then insert this bolt on the other side, and then there is a nut that goes in and locks everything in place. And then, without tightening that all the way down, you want to grab these rings, these ring nuts, and secure that in place. Secure the this cube thing. And once you have this down, it shouldn't be moving anymore. So I'm really curious to see if replacing those. I have this here. So this is a number 36 socket. So that'll tighten it in place. I just wanna, I'm gonna tighten this real tight, but I just wanna check, see if there's any kind of play here. Yeah, so it's really little play. So this is as far back as it'll go. Oh, it's still hitting. See, it's still hitting, so I don't want that to happen. Alright. So maybe I need to tighten this a little bit more. Alright. Alright, so this is my mea culpa. What happened was I reinstalled the tapered bearing back in here, but it was still giving me the collision issue. So I'm gonna grab one of the, this is a swing arm from the front wheel assembly, and it was still colliding with this part of the scooter here. So I don't want to admit this, but I misdiagnosed the problem. It had nothing to do with the tapered steering bearing. It was actually well, first of all, the bad design of the front wheel assembly and the wear and tear on the bushing. You can see there's a bushing in here on the top slot of the shock absorber itself and the bottom slot there. So what was happening was the more I rode and the more up and down the suspension dampener went through, it was wearing down the bushing very minusculely. So every single up and down cycle, it took away like 1/1000th of a millimeter. But as you can imagine, the more you ride this, like hundreds of miles, it takes away and wears away enough material. So what essentially was happening was this shock absorber was acting as if it were longer than it is. So when I first installed it, it was at this set length. So the wheel assembly itself was sitting, let me see, I took this apart, but well, I guess the good news is if you ever need to replace your bearings, you know what to do. But in order to solve this here, and if I were to do this over, well, let me do this. I bought some grease. So me just go over this part here. So if you are gonna install one of these air shock absorbers on your Toursor, make sure you get some grease and you apply a little bit of it on the top bushing and the bottom bushing. So that'll reduce the wear and tear on it, give it extra lubrication. But what I am gonna do is I'm actually going to, I took this apart for a reason, and this is the top suspension arm. I'm gonna put a hole through here so that I can use my 165 millimeter air shock absorber. So I was on the 195. I'm gonna use the 165 millimeter, but the 165 millimeter, as you saw on my previous video, it was sitting too low. So if I lower the hole here, then it'll push the, it'll separate the swing arm and the suspension arm farther apart. So again, this is another failed attempt at rectifying the situation with the collision issue here, but I'm gonna continue moving forward and testing my other ideas and experiments. But yeah, again, I wanna recap, important thing I learned from this whole experience is if you are gonna replace the shock absorber, make sure you put grease where these bushings are.